Arcadia Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. Magician, Galaxy Star beats Gadding and Material Man.
Welcome to Racing Rewind, proudly presented by Sessions, who stands the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571. That's 0427 789 571.
Full run, Bruce, and home run, but Northerly, Danny Miller, pumping away, and Northerly wins the railway from old comrade Lizzie Longlegs, flashed up on the inside.
Yes, time for Racing Rewind. The old band's back together. Lochie and Michael, a very good morning, lads.
Morning, Marty. Michael, good to be back.
Good morning, Loch. Good morning, Mart. Good morning, listeners. How was the trip, Loch?
Great.
Be back again?
Yep. Happy to be here.
There at the yard too yesterday. Now, Nicopolis Stakes Day. Tell us first off, Michael, how'd the track play?
I thought it played quite fair, to be honest. Earlier on in the card, I thought the middle of the track may have been the place to be. We saw Santorio, who led the race, work off the rail in the first race towards that middle part of the track. The next two races, they came down the middle part of the track, but then we saw horses making good ground along the rail in the latter part of the day, and horses came from behind, horses led and won, horses sat in the box seat and won, and in the staying race, a horse was three wide with cover and won. So I think that's probably the best I've seen it play in a little while.
Okay, what about from the steward's room?
A little bit to dissect in the sense that we had the protest in race number one, which we'll touch upon in just a moment. I believe we have a few text messages in regards to that protest as well. But the main talking point from the steward's report was the fact that Paul Harvey, in race number 4, there was a general consensus, trackside and then social media, as we all know, lights up when something like this happens. And it appeared that Paul Harvey had sat up on the line prior to the line aboard Pixie Chicks, and State of Power ended up winning that race. In the end, the stewards looked into it, and I think reading the stewards report, it appears that Paul Harvey has avoided any type of sanction because of the fact that a marker point that is usually on the track at the rail when the rail is out 12 metres or further, it was positioned to the inside of the track, and that was actually prior to the winning post. So Paul Harvey noted that in his defence, and just reading between the lines, putting it together, it appears as though that is what got him off a potential suspension.
It was a lengthy steward's report as well.
Always is these days.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. Lost by a nose, but I think he had pretty good reasoning there with
live. I thought, no, you need to go. You need to get a couple of weeks suspension for that. But then, obviously, when you consider the evidence, it's hard to give someone a suspension when a marker like that is on the inside of the track, which jockeys clearly use each and every meeting.
And the report also said trainer David Harrison was shown the vision of the final 100 metres. He concurred with the explanation of jockey Harvey and expressed his satisfaction with his handling of the mare over the final stages. So that wouldn't have done his chances any harm as well.
Okay, now the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup, there's another scratching. Bella's Idol has come out as well. Earlier on today, General Grant, who is well and truly hard in the betting, is out. Had this the first Coolgardie Cup, same thing as well, didn't we, with the favourite coming out early in the morning. So leaves us with No Apology, our $3.10 favourite ahead of Sluice Box at $3.70. Stafford's Ladder's $4.20. Tell them we're coming at $4.80. We'll touch on the Boulder Cup later on towards the end of Racing Rewind today. But first, let's get back to where it all began out there at Belmont Park yesterday. It was a good race, the free entry to Belmont Park handicap over the 1,300 metres.
Now they quicken up. They're starting to roll along at the top of the straight. To the outside goes Central Force with its run. Manhattan Strip hugs the rail, followed further back then by Classic Encounter. St. Oreo hands and heels at the 220. A length clear Saloon Bar under pressure from Parnham. St. Oreo fighting. Brad Parnham on St. Oreo. Little brother Chris trying to get the best out of Saloon Bar. St. Oreo, Saloon Bar brushing leather as they went to the line. And St. Oreo, I thought, just clung on from Saloon Bar in what was a bustling finish behind those.
A bustling finish that then went to the steward's room, and the stewards ruled in favour of Santorio holding the race over Saloon Bar and Central Force. Now, we've had 3 off the text line. One was adamant that it should have been upheld, and the other 2 have said a good decision by the stewards.
I'm in the latter. I believe that was the right decision made. We just watched the head-on off air, and essentially Brad Parnham has come out maybe 4 or 5 horses, but the interesting thing to note is that the rail was also tapered from the 6 metre position at the top of the straight to 3 metres in the straight, which creates somewhat of an optical illusion. That's something that you need to note. But looking at the head-on, not once does Santorio and Saloon Bar brush. Not once does Chris Parnham stop riding when the margin is ahead. I think it needs to be clear cut and clear as day that interference from Santorio lost Saloon Bar the race, and in my opinion, I just couldn't see it being upheld.
Yeah, I agree. It's obviously divided opinions, that protest, but watching the head-on again just then, I think it really needs to be black and white. I couldn't overturn the result based on that. There's no doubt Santorio was shifting out, but as you say, Saloon Bar's momentum was never halted, and I think it would have had to have been more significant interference to overturn the result.
Agree. The win itself, Santorio, great ride. Brad Parnham spoke about at length pre-race the fact that the race didn't have much speed on paper. Brad Parnham took the initiative, went straight to the top, controlled the race. I don't think the result was ever going to be any different, in the sense that it looked like the first 2 in running were always going to be the first 2 home with the way the race was run. Gave a kick at the top of the straight, had Saloon Bar off the bridle. Saloon Bar was brave, was fighting and clawing back the margin that final 300 metres, but just wasn't able to reel in Santorio, who is a very honest horse on his day, and he's hardly run a bad race in his short career to date.
Baby Paris form certainly holding up there. Imagine if she was in this race yesterday, she would have started prohibitive odds. But I really like Santorio, always showed a lot of ability. He also had a 2 kilos more than the favourite, so I think it was a good effort in that respect. Saloon Bar, neck and neck the whole straight, just couldn't quite get past. But aside from the protest, how good's Brad Parnham riding, and especially in these tight finishes? I know when I was filling in when Brittany was away the past couple of weeks, he would have won 2 or 3 photos, Brad. It was just incredible against horses like riders like Paul Harvey as well. Chris Parnham here, he's riding really, really well, Brad. Central Force thought was an even run, never really looked the winner, but held ground, and Sophia Symphony was the horse that did make up ground in the race, but it was all about the first 2 here. They kicked well and truly clear of the rest of the field. Certainly was. Classic Encounter, perhaps the disappointment out of it.
I hadn't seen the head-on until you showed it to me then. Watching it live, you could see there was a shift, and I wasn't surprised there was a protest. I still think that if it had been upheld, I would have accepted that decision. It's a 50-50 to mine. I can't see Brad Parnham trying to correct his horse.
Yeah, that's fair.
Did he?
I see where you're coming from.
At any stage, can you have another look at it, Michael? Without does he try and stop and correct his horse? And according to the steward's report, it does say that he was reprimanded under provision of 131 for careless riding, in that he allowed his gelding to shift ground uncorrected over the final 200 metres. So, to me, if it had gone either way, and that's what I thought without seeing the head-on yesterday. A few people texted me and said what I thought. Well, I haven't seen the head-on, but if it had gone either way. So, it's always a tough one for stewards.
Yeah.
Particularly like that, and there's always going to be people yes and no, and you know what it's like. So
yeah, this isn't playing game at the moment, this head-on, so
that's all right.
Leave that for another.
It's all right, we're on radio, no one can see.
Let's go to race number 2, and this was the Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Handicap.
Developing into a sprint, last of all is Censure. Homeward bound at the top of the home straight at the 370. Vogue's Choice, led by a length over Skipping Digits. See Why We Are, called upon now by Harvey. Dad's Big-Headed, Henchard running on. Zach Loves to Fly off the fence. Vogue's Choice, though, at the 175, shook them off. Vogue's Choice is a length and a half in front. Dad's Big-Headed down the outside, and also Henchard running on. Vogue's Choice joined now by Dad's Big-Headed, and Henchard diving. Henchard on the outside, I thought might have wanted a nose. Maybe Henchard from Dad's Big-Headed. Little between them from Zach Loves to Fly, Censure deep out, and See Why We Are in the middle. And they were followed by Vogue's Choice.
So listen to Adam Duran. I think it may have been on the Hour of Power. Was it on Friday when he spoke about Henchard and how he was going to change the way he trains this horse?
Yeah, it was.
Dour and trying not to rush him up in trip. I really loved that interview, and it looks like he nailed it, because Henchard, Dad's Big-Headed, was Censure back in third and Vogue's Choice fourth.
It was back in the field, second last in running, and I think Henchard, good win because of the way he dug deep in the final stages, but I think things went his way. Vogue's Choice was the third favourite in the race behind See Why We Are and Henchard. She found the front, it got softened up just a fraction out in front, was in the end was beaten under a length. You could perhaps provide excuses for her. And then See Why We Are, who was the really well-backed favourite, was 3 deep the trip without cover. So in that sense, the two favourites against Henchard didn't exactly have the rub of the green, and Henchard was able to get that beautiful card up on the back of Dad's Big-Headed and in the end got the job done.
Yes, they appear to go steady to the eye. I actually haven't looked at the times there. From these, there were 3 1,400-metre races. The others was a graduation and a 72 plus. Henchard won, actually pretty good. Actually, it was the fastest of the 3 1,400-metre races. I would not have picked that, albeit by 0.1 of a millisecond over Let's Gallivant. But still a good effort. Got there in the final stride from Dad's Big-Headed, so he looked the winner majority of the straight, just nutted there right on the line. And Sencha made up good late ground, was following the winner throughout, flew late. I quite like Vogue's Choice as a horse, quite progressive, reasonably lightly raced, and has been building up a good record. But as you mentioned, See Why We Are, the favourite, 3 wide, no cover throughout. It was still a good run, beaten less than a length and a half, but I think I've written the Stewards Report. We'll now head to the paddock for a break.
Tin Snip, I thought that was a super run, was unlucky. In the end, you look at the beaten margin, a length and a quarter, you could make a case that he should have gone close to winning. He was very unlucky, and then when he did get clear, I thought he showed a super turn of foot. But when you look at the margins throughout, first to 8th, 2.1 lengths, it's going to be a hard race to follow moving forward because of that.
Okay, so from a trainer's point of view, Adam's told us that he's going to, maybe keep it 14, 16. So does he go to the mile next start, keep it around that mark?
I think so. When I listened to that interview, I gathered the opinion that Adam just wanted to build him gradually.
Yeah. And he wasn't sure, was he?
He wasn't sure.
He was making the right decision.
No, and I think the feel that he gets of the horse is that maybe 1,800 might see him out. He's a 4-year-old, so obviously with West Speed, if you can stretch them out to 1,800, now we're going back to Ascot. That's a big tick. But yeah, for now, I think he probably goes to the mile next, but to be honest, it's more than likely just going to be a programming thing, and if there's a 1,400 that will suit Henchard in a couple of weeks' time, maybe he will stay at 1,400, but in my opinion, I think he'd be better suited out to the mile.
I think his record reflects that as well. You look at his last preparation, he won first up over 1,400 metres, ran third in a Lex Piper over a mile, third in a JC Roberts over a mile, over 1,800, and then his next 2 runs, he finished 9th and 10th over Staying Journey, so his form would suggest he's probably better around a mile anyhow.
Third event is the Varley Wayne Pugh handicap, and it was over the 1,200 metres.
O'Donnell is just starting to work the big deep field mare to the outside. Here she comes around them now with the white blaze back near the inside. Desert Thorn being followed then at the head of the others. Vina Waltz. They went past the 250 Agent J led. Look at Carly's Karma though. Out now there on the outside of 8 No Other Man. She ranges up and she goes to the lead. O'Donnell now really puts the acid test to her. To go Carly's Karma from 8 No Other Man. Trying to stick with the big mare, but she's much too good on return. Carly's Karma won from 8 No Other Man. Rain of Fire grabbing third from Agent J.
I think there was a tipster in town who didn't make this one of their best. Carly's Karma, and saluted and got out late in the betting as well. Beats 8 No Other Man, Rain of Fire and Agent J.
Easy watch if you were on as well. Was back in the second half of the field, but just the manner in which he travelled into the race. Sean O'Donnell was just sitting quiet as anything on her, and then when he said go, she put them away really nicely. In the end, won by 3/4 of a length ahead of 8 No Other Man, who I thought was a very good run once again. But Carly's Karma, I think she's better than 60-plus grade. No Metro win last year. I thought she was really well placed yesterday, and then Julie saluted.
Yeah, perfect placement off the back of a really nice trial. Last start before a spell, third to Son of a God in a listed Grandstand Cup, and resuming in a Zero Metro win race yesterday's. Particularly well placed for summer. Always travelled the winner, just glided past the rivals, and I'll be making her a follow. I think she won like a horse with more in hand, and there's probably bigger and better things in store for her, and especially the fact that she is listed placed over 1,500 metres, and she's won over 1,400. Yesterday's 1,200. That's a particularly promising return. Ain't No Other Man. I think we spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, just continuing to be a bit of a bridesmaid, but still racing really, really well. Claims the leader easily enough at around the 200-metre mark, but the winner was just far too strong. And Rain of Fire, after a disappointing run last start over 14, back to the 1200. I think that pretty much points out the fact that he's a much, much better horse just over the 6 furlongs. He had one up to 1300 and was tried at 14 yesterday, but back to the 1200. He was a sharp improver, and Agent J, who did a bit of work early from a wide gate to find the front, stuck on okay.
Agree. Real danger. $6 third or fourth favourite in yesterday's market.
I don't think he was suited.
In what sense?
I don't think she was suited in the. I know she was a winner at a previous start, but they appear to roll along. The reason white horses always appear to be better with a little bit of cover. It was still disappointing to be beaten. To run 5th of 10, beaten 3.5 lengths, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a horse like her perhaps improve with cover in the run next time out.
Either way, she's not exactly a top liner, though.
Oh, no, definitely not. No.
On to race number 4, the Ascot Racing Carnival Handicap over the 1,000 metres.
500 to go. Olga Louisa, she's flying solo, led by 6 or 7. Running second is the favourite, State of Power. Now caught in two minds whether to chase and see if it comes back to it, but it's got ground to make. Olga Louisa still leads down to the 250. 4 in front, State of Power. Under the shillelagh coming now from Pixie Chicks. Goes 2 walks for the back. 120 to go. State of Power getting up on the inside of Olga Louisa. Here's State of Power, and down the outside Pixie Chicks, but State of Power. Pixie Chicks dived. Pixie Chicks dived right on the line, nearly a dead heat. Almost a dead heat. State of Power, Pixie Chicks goes 2 walks, probably third from the tiring Olga Louisa, and they were followed.
Yeah, well, there it is. State of Power, good change of luck too. What a consistent mare she's been. Beats Pixie Chicks, goes 2 walks, and Olga Louisa back in 4th.
She has been absolutely flying all campaign. I think Kelly Kinnermont said after the race, there haven't been too many horses in her time at Simon's stable that have been in work for this long and have been racing so well for this long as well. So all credit to the team at Simon's. I think they've done a wonderful job with State of Power, and she is just absolutely flying at the moment. I don't know whether she continues for much longer now, but I can't see why she wouldn't. She's just going from strength to strength. They keep her to the 1,000-metre journey at Belmont, and I think she's going better than ever.
Yeah, she's a model of consistency. No superstar. I think she's still a peak below those sort of stakes grade type of mares coming through the ranks, but she's still super, super on. It's interesting to see whether she pushes on to Ascot. She appears to go really well at Belmont, but you'd think perhaps with a freshen up she could be a Jungle Mist type, if potentially, but it was a good win. And I remember thinking the other week that I thought Simon may have been a little bit quiet, but it was just a fact that he wasn't having many runners. Looking at his season to date, he's only ruled out 18 runners, 5 winners, 28%, 5 seconds. So 10 of his 18 have finished in the first 2. He's training really, really well with only a small representation. Pixie Chicks faced the breeze throughout, charged late, just missed, as we've spoken about. Paul Harvey was subject to that inquiry for sitting up over the final stages. Goes 2 walks, made up good late ground. He's still going really, really well. And Olga Louisa was a funny watch, led by a massive margin. I haven't seen them stretch the field out like that, especially over 1,000 metres in quite some time. Still only beats it a length, so she continues to not be too far away, but is just unable to finish off her races. But this was when the track, I thought, started to change a little bit, when State of Power, they went quick. She settled in the box seat and she was still able to win along the inside of the track.
Certainly was. I think I agree with you. A Jungle Mist type race would be suitable. You look at her record now, she's won near on 330,000. She's won 5 times. So I think as connections, you have to go, what's next for her? And I think the only thing that adds value to her obviously now is black type, and whether she can run out 1,200 as effectively as she does the 1,000.
That's the query.
I'm not sure, but you get her up in work at the right time. Why not? Just wait and see.
14 runs this campaign, which dates back to January. There was a couple of little 4-5 week gaps between runs there, but that's extraordinary, isn't it?
And just having a look at that's a really good point you make. She won first up as well over in a Class 1, so you don't often see horses that have almost peaked from the day first, third, first, her first 3 runs. So she's actually been able to hold that form, not just work into form, and kicked off her campaign as a 59 rater she'll go to a 79 after that, so she's been particularly well placed.
And her last 8 starts has not been out of the place as well, so it's a big campaign. Yeah. Great for her, great training performance by Simon. 27 past 8 o'clock. Let's move on now to race number 5 yesterday out there at Belmont Park. And this was the Amelia Park Handicap over the mile.
Lone Hand Larry ridden along, then 2 lengths Pretty Fry, who tracks the favour. They're followed by Position of Power, then Vital Flirt, Brother Paddy well back, and Try for Us. Cheerful Moment led them at the 300. A length Great Fortune getting up on the inside. Harvey found a bit of room with Catalpa, and they're being followed by Position of Power. Cheerful Moment, Catalpa, and now Position of Power. It's Position of Power wide out, Catalpa down on the inside. Position of Power and Try for Us coming through. Position of Power, Try for Us diving. Position of Power. Position of Power wanted ahead. Try for Us from last. Catalpa probably third from Cheerful Moment. Then Lone Hand Larry and Brother.
Yeah, well, there you have it. David Harrison combining here with Brandon Louis, taking the 2 off with Position of Power. Beats Try for Us, Catalpa, Cheerful Moment in 4th.
Great ride from Brandon, I thought. Isn't the easiest horse to handle and ride. Wanted to throw his head around in the early stages and was giving Brandon a little bit of a hard time, but he kept at him, sort of 1 out, 2 back in the end, followed Lone Hand Larry into the race, and in the end pulled him out to the middle of the track, and I thought he showed a really nice turn of foot. Try for Us, I thought, was one of the runs of the day, back in second, but well done to Brandon, and David Harrison's team's going really well at the moment too.
And announced his retirement at the end of the season, potentially, Harrow, after this race.
Yeah, that's probably
his 1200th winner. He said at the end of this season, unless the workers' comp situation changes, which is, I think, every stable's really struggling with at the moment, about $120,000 a year for workers' comp, and Harrow's had a pretty bad run with that. His workers' comp's 30% of his annual wages, so if you're paying $300,000-$400,000 in wages a year, you're in for... And as you imagine a stable like Adam Durant, with the amount of runners he has, his wages are probably $1 million. So you can certainly see the trainers are in a big hole before the season actually even begins with workers' comp alone. So it is an issue that has to be addressed. And he said that he'll be hanging them up at the end of this season unless that changes. But he's a Group 1 winning trainer. He's trained 1,200 winners throughout his career now. So congratulations to Harrow nonetheless. And this horse first started on a mile and wins. Loves the backup as well. Off 7 days now, he's had 6 starts for 2 wins and 3 placings. So always peaks off the 7-day turnaround. I agree with Try for Us, one of the runs of the day. I don't think many people would have missed her effort. Second up, she'll probably be better suited over further as well. So a big follow there. Catalpa had every chance, but was an even run, and Cheerful Moment led and I thought stuck on okay as well for this type of race, but thought it was a good ride by Brandon, and Try for Us, the horse to follow out of the race.
Not sure what to make of Catalpa now. The only time he's won this preparation was when the rail was red hot. He drew one, he box seated and got that rails run back on the 27th of July. Since then, yesterday I thought he had every possible chance, but yeah, I'm happy to reserve judgment on Catalpa because I don't think he's going to accelerate to that next level like I thought he might once was going to.
He's sort of just caught in that graduation 66 plus type of...
and I thought he was better than that as well, but off yesterday's run, I don't think he is.
Okay, that is the halfway stage of proceedings here for Racing Rewind. Time to take a break.
You are listening to Racing Rewind, brought to you by Sessions, starting the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. Sessions boasts a better than 80% winners to runners, with average earnings close to $100,000.
Grace, no getting cluttered up today for Parnham, and he's about to quickly tackle Ginger Green at the straight. They're followed after 2 lengths. Alsafina lets down, followed further back Secret Statue, Real Grace, Ginger Green, Alsafina makes a line of 3. Now the sparks are flying. Alsafina, Real Grace, Ginger Green coming back off the canvas. Alsafina, Ginger Green, they beat off Real Grace. It's Alsafina, they're going a bit better, and Alsafina had the dream run, beat Ginger Green. Real Grace peaked on a run. Secret Statue.
Yeah, another very popular pick. Alsafina was never going to lose for Grant and Alana. Paddy Carberry gave it a perfect ride. Ginger Green, Real Grace and Secret Statue back and forth.
Perfect ride indeed, Marty. I thought Darren's call was spot on. Just had the dream run, 1 out, 1 back. Pat bided his time, waited. Then when he pushed the button, Alsafina said go and was able to win stylishly. Going into the race after her last start over 1,300 metres, had a slight query on the 1,400, but with a really soft run, she ran right through the line, and I thought that was a good win, and I think she's back on track now and can validate the opinion that she's a real genuine Saturday mare.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought she was disappointing her last start. She appeared to have every chance and wasn't able to run down Ginger Green, but perhaps she's a better horse, ridden a little bit handier. Her wins, she did make up good late ground first up, but she's still settled 5th of 8, but perhaps she's better just tucked in just behind the speed there, and she showed what she can do, building up a terrific record, 4 wins from 6 starts now, so she's still super progressive, never finished out of the money. Ginger Green led, stuck on well. There's always been good raps on this horse, but injuries has curtailed his career somewhat, but I know the Yards always had a really good opinion of him. It's good to see him returning the favour. And Real Grace, interesting watch after the last couple of starts, obviously held up, desperately unlucky, both runs in this time in. What did you make of the effort? Firstly, sitting outside the leader, and I thought stuck on okay, beaten, but was beaten 2 lengths in the end.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she's a 1,400 metre horse, nor is she a 1,400 metre horse ridden without cover. I think you could see straight out of the gates, I think Chris just wanted to take bad luck out of the equation. In the end, I'm somewhat surprised the tactics weren't questioned to an extent, considering that she's typically back in the field, and yesterday she was outside the leader. But yeah, I think she's better suited to 1,200 metres and perhaps a softer run as well. But in a similar sense to Bob's horse earlier on in the program, the name escapes me. I don't think she's a real top liner, and if she was able to go to the next level, I think she would have finished better than beaten 2 lengths yesterday.
Yeah, no, I agree. Probity disappointing, was back in the field, never really made an impression, beaten 7 lengths. So that's 2 dodgy runs he's put in this time in, and so just interesting to see what the fallout of that is. And Secret Statue's going quite well for Stephen Reid. Got going again late yesterday after settling 3 back to fence. I think the horse is going well, and if perhaps in easier company as contested Saturday races, I think virtually all the runs for Stephen, but only a Class 2 galloper I see here, rated 61, so wouldn't be surprised if he did drop back to a Class 3 type of race in the midweek if he went around each way odds and featured in the finish.
Here's one from Gordon off the text line. Hi guys, have you any thoughts on target races for Amelia's Jewel for the upcoming carnival?
Amelia's Jewel will trial on the 27th of October, and then she will either race over 1,000 metres first up, or trial again and then go to the Belgravia over 1,200 metres first up, and then from there I think they go to the Burgess Queen over 1,400 metres, and that's where Simon and Peter Walsh will make the decision as to whether she steps out in trip to a Guineas and then a Kingston Town, or perhaps comes back, freshens up for a Placid Arc.
Okay, thanks for that. Good answer.
You're welcome, Marty.
On to race number 7, the Peninsula Dining Room Handicap, and this was over the 2,200 metres.
Coming to the home turn, and deep out is All Man with a sweeping run, getting around Truly Reliable and Solsana. Flattening out Devonia on the outside. Ranges up to Accelerate, who's grinding. So's Heaps of Moolah. 2 lengths, Red Hot Hope, followed by All Man, but Devonia hits the front. Red Hot Hope comes. Blackwater Bay getting right up on the inside late with 150 to go. Devonia's the leader from Blackwater Bay, who's continuing to pick it off down on the rail. Devonia desperately ridden though. Blackwater Bay, Devonia. Fabulous ride by Warwick to get home Devonia. Devonia's won it from Blackwater Bay and Red Hot Hope. Behind those,
always good to see Alan McAllister's colours winning here, and Devonia gets the money. Lucy Warwick, Brian Kersley beats Blackwater Bay, Red Hot Hope, and in 4th was All Man.
I remember speaking to Brian Kersley after Devonia's win last start, and he spoke to me about the fact that she is just an out-and-out stayer, low heart rates. You look at her, she's lean, very, very light-looking mare, but scopy, covers plenty of ground, and yeah, it's no surprise to see her going so well over these staying journeys. That was a really good win, a terrific ride from Lucy Warwick from barrier 16, and in only her 7th career start, that's her 3rd win. And I just think that over these staying journeys, she's somewhat progressive, and will just continue to go through her grades now, because She showed some type of tactical versatility yesterday in the sense that she took a sit, but I think when she can find the front, she might even go to another level in a similar sense to how she won last start at Class 3 level.
Yeah, it was a great ride. I think the ride won the race as well. Barrier 16 of 16, slotted in three wide with a cover. That was when one of the winning moves of the race, but I agree with Brian's comments as well. Just the way she just levelled up to the leaders on straightening and just kept boxing on. She just looks like an out-and-out staying type. So nice win there. Super ride by Lucy. Blackwater Bay was a good run as well. Was 5 back the fence. Everything fanned off. So Clint went back to the rail, stuck to the inside and made really good late ground from back in the field. Red Hot Hope was actually 3 back the fence, but peeled off to follow Devonia. Was a nice piece of riding there to run into 3rd place. And Allman, who had Devonia's back in running, 3 wide with the cover from barrier 15. Another nice bit of riding there from Jace Whiting. Finished off okay into 4th, but I thought Lucy Warwick rode the race really well and ended up getting the job done, which was the winning recipe.
Without doubt, it's a tricky race to follow. There was plenty happening. 16-horse field in a graduation staying race over 2,200 metres. It's always going to be a hard one to follow, but Devonia, I just think she has that somewhat level of progressiveness about her, and if she can find races where there isn't as much speed as yesterday and can really dominate from out in front, it wouldn't surprise me to see her put a few in the line.
And going into the race, Brian Kersley had the second favourite in Arragain, so I thought he probably went in thinking that she'd be the one, but she ran 13th, beat to nearly 10 lengths. But post-race vet exam, the rider reported that the mare raced in a flat manner. Post-race veterinary examination revealed no abnormalities. So everything was A-OK there. And also Accelerate took a little bit to find the breeze position, had to race wide through the early stages, but rider also reported raced in a flat manner.
Robbie from Mandurah has texted in on 0427 789 571. How good are Daniel and Ben Pearce going at the moment? Well,
very.
Currently on the the WA Trainers Premiership, they've got 17 wins to their name.
18, I think, and I'm not sure if that's been updated.
Oh, you'd know. You're on the team. Says to the
18th of 18 out of 73 so far. Just having a look on, Chris.
Okay, 18. Dan Morton has 10. Is that right?
He didn't have a winner down yesterday, did he?
No.
So I don't think that would have changed.
Yeah, okay. Just looking down to, lots been said about Adam Durant, but he's had 17 thirds. So it's been probably one of those starts.
They're starting to tick into gear. I reckon when we go back to Ascot in, a fortnight, I wouldn't be surprised if Adam's team really has a good start to the Ascot season, because runs like Try For Us, Henchard yesterday early in the campaigns, I think his horses are coming good at the right time.
Main event of the day, the Nicopolis Stakes over the 1,200 metres.
450, and the best part of 8 from the lead. On the rails next of all is Titan Blinders, and last is Soleil. Great again, headed for the judge at the 350. Led Mood Swings behind them. Long Beach around heels goes up with Comes a Time. Comes a Time now quickly challenging Mood Swings at the 175. Long Beach not getting a lot of room. Excellent Dream coming quickly. Comes a Time. Mood Swings comes back. Excellent Dreams finishing hard. Comes a Time. Excellent Dream diving. Did it get there? I don't know. I thought maybe on the inside. Comes a Time from Excellent Dream, and Mood Swings third. Gemma's Son behind those stars.
Yeah, you thought right, Matt. Comes a Time held on to beat Excellent Dream. Mood Swings, Titan Blinders up for 4th ahead of Gemma's Son.
Comes a Time, Paul Harvey, Michael Grantham, blinkers going back on, appeared to be the key. At the 300 metre mark, for whatever reason, I thought that Comes a Time wasn't going all that well, because Long Beach had appeared to push out underneath Comes a Time, and I wasn't sure how well he was going, but once Paul Harvey let him go and then used the persuader, you saw Comes a Time really, really respond, and I thought that was a great win, and I think all systems go now towards a Hannon's handicap.
I think he'll be a great Hannon's horse as well. He may actually become top weight now, yeah. I think. He went yesterday as a 90 rater, so he'll get 4 for that win, and I don't think there's anything else. Great Again was a 94 rater, but off that effort yesterday... and
he needs wet tracks unless it's raining.
Yeah, listening to Jason Brown and the beaten jockeys, I think he said that as well, that better on the wet tracks, and do we have the beaten jocks to maybe have a listen to before we pull this race apart, Mark?
Yep, sure do.
Holly Watson, Excellent Dream.
Yeah, great run by him today. Luke's done a great job with him, and hopefully he can do one better next time.
Chris Parnham, Star Trade.
I got a little bit further back than I probably wanted to, but he kind of, he ran brilliantly first up. He might have just been zapped a bit from that run.
Jason Brown, great again.
Yeah, just on the dry track, the horse with lighter weight, he just can't get away from him, and they're just too zippy for me.
Jason Whiting, Gemma's son.
It wasn't too bad a run. Sort of just worked to the line without ever really showing a sprint, and it was okay.
Brad Parnham, Mood Swings.
Yeah, it was a solid effort. He fought hard to the line. Probably had to do a little bit too much work from the wide barrier, and might have cost him a little bit, but it was a good run.
Clint Johnson-Porter, Long Beach.
No, it wasn't a terrible run. He got a little bit of crowding in the straight, and he didn't really like it that much. But he still was hitting the line okay. Probably find the middle of the track next time.
Pat Carberry, Bumper Blast.
That's a very nice knot on your tie, mate. Very happy with that. But he ran okay. He probably best days are behind him. He probably needs to find something a little bit weaker.
Joey has a party, Salah.
Yeah, it's probably better than it looked. It's not a grand final today, but I thought it was a good enough run going forward.
Sean O'Donnell, Titan Blinders.
Yeah, good effort. Drew 9. We went back and he hit the line bloody good, so we might have found another way to ride him instead of up on the pace. So, yeah, onwards and upwards. Thank you.
There they are, beaten jockeys. And so what do we make out of it, the race itself?
Yeah, comes a time, he just has that tactical speed to be able to put himself into the perfect position. I didn't actually think about the fact that he may be top weight in the Hannons now, but just the way he races and just being able to put himself outside leader, one out, one back, anywhere in the first 4 or 5 runners, I think he'll make a really nice Hannons horse. He gave 3 kilos to Excellent Dream here, who had his back in the run, did flash late, thought it was a really good run, Excellent Dream, but he was still good enough to get the job done. Heading towards the Hannons Lock, comes a time you'd think would go that way. Star Trade, you would think would go that way.
Excellent Dream, Fernie Yard.
Excellent Dream probably would.
Yep.
I don't think Mood Swings would.
No.
At 1,400. Titan Blinders is eligible for easier. I would be surprised if he went that way. Gemma Sun's an interesting one. Interesting. Not too sure, but there's probably a few out of this race and a few out of the finale from last week that would all be going towards there.
Yeah, it seems like an even bunch. At this stage, I couldn't definitively really pick one out and say this is your Hannons handicap favourite. I guess Western Temple comes a time. I think they're perhaps the top 2 in the market. But
if Western Temple draws a gate, he's the one that I'll be pushing.
Yeah, it's going to be an even edition, though. I don't think there's too much between them.
The fact that Resort Man's been going so well and he's not going to the Hannons, I think that opens it up a little bit as well. But Titan Blinders is a follow for me. As Sean said in the beaten jockeys just then, Drew 9, went back to last, had to weave in and out of traffic, hit the line super. Eligible for easier races. I think he's a follow. And Gemma's run was solid as well. Star Trade, super win a fortnight ago, over 1,000 metres somehow. Still not sure how he won that race. But
so what'd you make of his run?
I agree with Chris that
flat.
I think we went so good for off that freshen up over 1,000. Probably not a huge surprise. He was still beaten less than 2 lengths, but more of a grinding sort of effort. I wouldn't be surprised to see him be a sharp improver, third up over 1,400. I think he'd probably be looking for that sort of trip now.
Agree. I just for mine, I think he just raced flat, as Chris touched upon in the beaten jockeys. I think, and as Michael has touched upon, I think he'll bounce back next start in the Hannons.
Do you hopefully for Craig Fox, part owner of Comes a Time, who rode so many winners up on the goldfields that he could win a Hannons handicap for him? It'll be a great win. Race number 9, the Byron Bay Premium Lager handicap over the 1,400.
They're about to quicken here at the 450, and MTA's doing it comfortably. MTA at the top of the straight. Brooklyn Pier going equally as well. Carragini, Aurora around them now being put into it. Multinational comes down the outside. Back behind them, Let's Gallivant. At the 250, Brooklyn Pier and MTA are together. A length and a half to Multinational. Let's Gallivant. Billy Ray further back. MTA kicks back inside Brooklyn Pier. Brooklyn Pier, MTA. Now Let's Gallivant. Let's Gallivant bursting through in the middle. Let's Gallivant. Let's Gallivant won the last from MTA, Brooklyn Pier and Multinational. Speed Dream, Billy Ray.
Not a surprising win there for Let's Gallivant, beating MTA, Brooklyn Pier and Multinational in 4th.
Let's Gallivant, his horse. It's just been a theme of the Pierce stable. I definitely didn't think this horse had a 72-plus win in him, but there's just how well the Pierce stable is going at the moment. what was that, his fourth or fifth win this campaign, Michael? Sixth win this campaign. He's been up for a long time and he's just going super. Was held up marginally, and then once he got clear at the 200-metre mark, he really showed a turn of foot that we probably hadn't seen before. And if he can continue to replicate performances like that and show that turn of foot, why can't he win more?
He's a remarkable horse for mine. He first up in a Class 1, ran midfield, then he won a 52+ at York, second up, and since then he's just continued to improve. That was his 11th run of the prep. He's won 6 of them. He's now won 7 of 14 with 3 minor placings. He was a bit stiff 3 starts ago as well when he placed. Otherwise, he probably would have won 4 straight. And similarly to State of Power earlier in the day, he's had 11 runs. He's kicked off his campaigners in Metro 62. I think he'll go to an 81 now. So he's won 6 races in that time. So I think he's been particularly well placed as well. And don't be surprised if he heads to the Heatons in a couple of weeks.
Why not?
He goes to
we have a scoop, Marty.
Goes to an 81 rater now. And I've looking around, if Greater Gain or Comes a Time is the top weight at 94.
Greater Gain won't go to the Heatons.
No.
Yeah, well, that's...
And I have breaking news. Comes a Time won't either. He's going to back up next week into the Birthday Stakes and then potentially have a little freshen up and aim up at an RJ Peters. Fresh from Michael Grantham.
Wow, there you go.
Thank you, Michael.
Scoops Rooney. Missing out there. Well, if that's the case, then I think Western Temple as a 93 rater would be the top weight. So it would be an 83 plus. Let's Gallivant, and we'll go to an 81. So he's only a kilo outside the handicap and going back through. And it's worth twice as much as normal Saturday races. So if he was to come out and win it and get the extra 2 points, he's still better off than winning 2 more Saturdays. So I think he's a big chance of heading to the Heatons now. And why not? $10,000 yearly purchase has won $250,000 now. But MTA's rated really nicely in front. I know he was being aimed up at a Heatons as well. So it'll be interesting to see whether he goes that way. Brooklyn Pier is really hitting form now, battled on nicely, and Multinational was quite stiff, drew 10 of 10, but 3 wide, no cover throughout, and they didn't go hard, but still a nice run. And last one I wanted to touch on before you touch on Billy Raylock, Speed Dream. Thought it was a really good run, had nowhere to go, majority of the straight, first up, got going well once he was clear. Eligible for a 66 plus as well. This was a 72, so I'll be following him this prep.
Billy Ray, I think punters might be disappointed with the run, but I didn't have any issue with it. I know he started as favourite or second favourite in the end, but I just don't think he had a race run to suit. Sean O'Donnell didn't look all that keen on leading with MTA, and because of that, they went slow out in front. Billy Ray was back. He drew wide, over-raced early, and then just whacked away to the line, beaten under 3 lengths in what I thought was a very unsuitable race in terms of the shape and the way it planned out. I think he'll bounce back in the starts to come.
Text line is open. Morning panel. When do you think and how long do you think it will be before Pikey will be coming back? That's regards from George.
You follow East Coast racing closer than Michael and I, Marty.
He's good, isn't he, or not?
No, I think he's
booked yesterday. He didn't have a real strong book. It was one of those days that he's been having a lot of around the place without starring.
Reading between the lines, it seems like he's having a lean run, but I've also read that the Hawk stable, who he is the main man for, are also having a lean run.
Yeah,
is that correct?
That'd be fair to say.
Yeah.
And they've been running good horses in good races like Masked Crusader that are probably at their mark and they're not going to beat the Nature Strips of the world and things like that. So, yeah, he's just probably stuck in that place. But knowing the Hawks, they'll be bringing some good ones out soon.
I think Pikey may have sold his farm as well, so that would suggest that he's not coming back anytime soon.
I think he'll be back for the carnival, though.
Time for a quick break.
On Racing Rewind, it is time for the boys to look back and determine who are the black bookers, the ones to be on next start, the horses to follow.
Yes, less than 3 minutes to find some horses to follow and then have a quick look at the Blue Spec Drilling Boulder Cup, boys.
Just the one for me. Try for us, I think, in 3 weeks' time when we're back at Ascot. She'll be going awfully close.
I'll be following 4, which is unusual for me. Carly's Karma, I think's in for bigger and better things. Try for us, Super Run. Titan Blinders, eligible for easier. Really like the way he found the line. And Speed Dream was unlucky. First up there yesterday. eligible for easier as well.
Gee, looks a good move now for 5 No Apology into 245, if you don't mind, punters. 6 Loose Boxes, 370. 4 Stafford's Lad, 420. 1 Tell 'Em We're Coming at 480.
Does he run 2100? No Apology.
Absolutely.
You think?
I think
this is the first time.
No.
Are you thinking of General Grant?
I'm probably thinking General Grant.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
New connections, though.
It's okay.
Lucy Warwick and
Brandon Fiore.
Yes, purchased No Apology during the week.
Yep.
Was it 40,000?
Yeah, 40, 45, I believe.
Yeah, something. And so now racing in their colours, I think.
Yep, 4 SJ.
Yes, so it'll be a quick return if it happens to get the job done, but was a really good win last start, and you think would be riding the speed again. Bella's Idol has come out. That'll help his case somewhat. I thought Tell 'Em We're Coming was huge the other day. It was a really good run and was without cover for a lot of it as well. Kept coming with 60. Now meets No Apology 2 kilos better, and Stafford's Lad hit the line strongly as well. So I think the extra trip will be certainly more suitable to the Moreton pair.
Sluice Box. I remember Ash
Really
Bailey
good run.
talking on radio. It wasn't quite the race for him last start. It seemed like he had some improvement to come.
Yep.
Maybe today in the Cal Cup could be his races.
Yep.
Alder Cup today?
Yeah, today and then the Cal Cup.
And then the Cal Cup.
Yeah.
Who's going up today?
Brittany and Crashane will be on course today. And then I think it's Britton Scott for Cal Cup Day in a fortnight.
Okay. Thanks for coming in. Looks like you're under a bit of duress today, so maybe a lemon drink and back to bed for you.
Hopefully you're better soon, Michael.
Mickey, all the very best. Thanks to Sophie Stone, also to Brad Hardy for his fine work earlier on the aftermath, counting down to the news at 9 o'clock. Leah Ernest to take us through the morning into the afternoon. Aftermath and Racing Rewind cooked for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. Until then, back a winner.